All right. I am jumping right back in where I left off before the meeting. So let's... Okay. Still have audio from the microphone. We do not have audio from the desktop anymore, which is good. This switched back over. Chat here. All right. And so yeah, I'm picking right back up where I left off, which was in this RSA pull request. We'll keep going through the code here, but I'll also run I think there's 2 or 3 examples in the examples folder in this repo. I'll run those as well with the updated version just to make sure we don't have any functional changes. Sequence of int, interesting. I recall ever seeing sequence like that before. I guess it must be different than list somehow. I've seen like this tuple, and I've seen list as well. I don't know, sequence, is that I'm typing sequence, is that like could be a tuple or a list or something? Anything iterable? Iteratable? Iterable? I don't know. Python typing sequence versus iterable. Okay, iterable exists separately. Well, I mean, based on the autocomplete guess, I suppose. I don't actually know that for a fact yet, but sequence, what do we have here? Okay, this is in collections. Collections ABC. Huh. It's server. Interesting. Where did sequence come from? You know, why don't I, let's get this open locally as well. That way I can kind of bounce back and forth a little bit easier. GitHub, I like to not have to scroll around a whole lot because I kind of like read top to bottom, and if I start scrolling around, then I don't know where I'm at and stuff. In PyCharm, I can kind of jump around a little bit easier. PR list, GHPR checkout. Right, and then let's see where this actually came from. So it's going to be under RSA, I think, right? It's a single file. Nope, folder. Okay, folder RSA. What are we in here? Still init or? RSA common. I could close a couple of these for now. Certainly need them. We'll open them back up if we do. No big deal. Let's see here. Common. Okay, came from typing in our case. Interesting, this shows it from collections ABC. I also don't know why they would just name this ABC. Generics. Oh, okay, there's one inside of typing as well. Interesting. Wonder what the difference is. Sometimes sometimes I find that Python documents just difficult to... There's so much information here, and like I don't know what I know, and I don't know what I don't know, and it feels like this document is written for a person who knows all about it and is just trying to look it up, to reference it to make sure it's, that they're going to do something correct. But I feel like there's a lot of context I don't have. Because I'm also relatively new to typing. Like all this typing, when we started doing it around October, that's really the first time I started messing with it at all anyway. So I am still pretty new to all of this. Sometimes I do find that about the Python docs, though. I will say the CircuitPython docs I have better luck with typically. Sequence, let's see. Generic versions of collections ABC sequence deprecated. Why would this be called collections ABC? Does ABC stand for something? Oh, abstract base classes? Okay. Okay, so this one is the new one, and this one is the old one. And the old one points to the new one, and the new one doesn't have a description. maybe this, iterable, which supports efficient element access using integer indices via the get item, which is, I think, square brackets is what this ultimately comes from. Okay, yeah, so my guess was more or less correct, it looks like. This can be list or tuple or string or bytes. Really, this can be anything that you can access with square brackets in an index, and also be able to get the length of it with len. Yeah. And dictionary doesn't count because it's a mapping. In my mind, it doesn't seem like dictionary would count anyway because there's no indexes, right? There's keys, which indexes are like the keys of lists, but typically you don't. Typically in a dictionary, your key won't just be like a number, an index 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. If that's what you have, then you could probably just use a list instead. I don't think there's rules against it. I guess you could make a dictionary with those keys, but direct big class beyond just this stuff. Okay. Interesting. Okay. So this is, how's it going, Tammy? Good day to you. So this is basically, it can be a list or a tuple. A couple other types as well. Oh. Copy this. 1 second, I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this post real quick. I don't have permission to share it either, so unfortunately you all won't have anything to look at, but it's relatively short. It'll just take me a minute here. Nice. It's hilarious. Thanks. Of relief. Huh. Nice. That's funny. Okay. All right, we're done here, I think. Looks good to me. This is my it's an article that my wife wrote for Hackaday, and when I have a minute and she's done with one, I'll read them for her real quick to just kind of as a last check to see if there's anything that jumps out to me as problematic or anything, but all right. This is a I don't want to show the whole thing because it's not published anywhere yet. I don't know. I've never asked like to share that on the stream. I don't want to just do it without. It will get published eventually, so folks can read it, and then you'll be able to find it on Hackaday. This one was about somebody made a chocolate bunny for Easter that is. It has something edible conductive inside, like gold foil, or in this case silver foil, like silver I don't know, plating or whatever, the stuff that they coat food in sometimes, like you can get gold plated chocolate or something. They did a silver plating stuff that's edible, and they found out it was conductive, and they put a circuit inside the chocolate bunny, and when you break the circuit by biting it, it plays like scream sounds out of a speaker. So you bite it and then the bunny screams. That's a pretty funny idea. Anyway, back to typing here. So we did get this from typing. Sequence does make sense for list and tuple and all the rest of those things. A values, M values. I'm not familiar with the equation. But it does here look like both A and M are, list-like. They are sequence-like. They have square brackets that are accessing by index. So this does make sense. Returning an int does such that x equals this stuff for each I. Let's return x. And x starts on 0, but changes a little bit here. But it does change to a modulus, so it will still be an int when it's done. So that does seems good to me. Okay, header. X, E, and M. Fast modular exponentiation. Base exponent, second exponent. Those do sound all like ints to me. Any asserts. Oh, right. This is another one of the testing things. It's checking var to see if it's. How does it pass a name though? Oh, to print, I guess here. Interesting. Yeah, it doesn't actually use name. It doesn't actually use name at all, other than when it raises the error. Interesting. Is there like a underscore underscore? Is there a way to get a variable's name as a string? It seems kind of like not what is it? It's not recursion. It's what do they have that in Java? It's trying to blank on the name. It's like basically you can put code inside of a string and then have it still execute as code. I guess really we're going kind of the other way around here. Python get name of variable as string. All right, well, we're not the only one who's thought of this, at least. Interesting. Seems like kind of no. Yes, technically this one, but you already have to know the name anyway. I mean, I guess the name, it wouldn't help us anyway. Even if you could do this, it's not going to help us because inside the function, the name is just the argument. Inside the function, the name is just var. So even if we had a way to get the name of var, it would just tell us var, which is not helpful. The idea here is more like, index or something, some other name that you pass it in, and then this will tell you like index should be an integer, not whatever class it is. So yeah, actually being able to access it from a variable wouldn't help in this case, honestly, because it's going to be inside this variable, not whatever its name was in the outer context. What is this is going to stick in my brain for a while. Java, execute code as string. What is this stuff called? This is, there's a name for this. It's reflection. This is what I'm trying to think of, reflection. Yeah. Okay. Message, I would have thought was a string, but this is as an int instead. Okay. Well, I guess this is called encrypt int, so I suppose that makes sense. Okay. N. Makes sense. We want to decrypt it. We would get back an int as well. And our ciphertext would be an int because we turned it into an int here. So this one is like specifically encrypting numbers. Header looks good. Imports. Int none. This look good to me. We don't have doc strings to go by, but self.n, self.e, this is an RSA key. Let's see if we can find maybe one other hint or something about what this is. E, self.e, 26. Fastpow, which takes an int here. Okay, so we got a, pretty sure, an n as well, in fact, right here. Also is an int. Okay. We got a secondary piece of evidence there that those are ints. Works for me. Bytes on the key file returns an abstract key, which is that class that was declared here. Same thing, this, just a different type, I think. M versus DER. I don't know what those mean necessarily. I don't have really any experience in crypto stuff. Encryption stuff, I should say. Crypto kind of has different connotation now, doesn't it? Bytes. Makes sense. Even had bytes in the doc string already. It's here, same thing. Key file bytes, format. I wonder if this would be a spot for those literals. It's not implemented. Okay, well this doesn't actually do anything anyway. I mean, it raises, but it doesn't do anything functional. I guess maybe it could be filled in at a later date or something? Not sure. Format. Well, I don't know, maybe we could change it. I'll just do single comments. I mean, ideally it would not be a string either, honestly. It would be a like a constant, just enum type thing. Just put an int at whatever number and give it the name. But I don't know, maybe this matches CPython or something. File format is a string. Methods is a dictionary of strings and callables. So I guess this is probably function names and then functions themselves. Okay. I do think when I did see that before, it was numbers. It was ints. And string is like, I mean, int is its own type too, I guess. But I don't know if string literals can be used in that thing, I guess. Message is an int. It's already typed here as an int as well. R. Go to int also. It's returning an int, which matches the old doc strings. Unblind. Makes sense, these would be the same. This is the value that came out of this one. R, I don't know what R is, but oh, random number to blind with. And the return is an int. Okay, key is a string, makes sense. Returns any. We don't necessarily know the types, I guess. Let's see here. Repr returns a string. Does make sense. That looks like a string to me. Probably would be good to update it to string format or something different than %, but doesn't necessarily have to be either. Get state returns a tuple, which makes sense because it's returning two things. N and E, we actually looked at both of those earlier and we saw those were ints, so tuple int does look right. Set state, basically setting N and E, which we know that, again, those are ints. This doesn't return anything. Equals takes another thing, but we don't know what it is. We're testing if it's equal or not, and we therefore return a Boolean. Huh. Interesting. We know it's not. We know we're not equal to it. If we are a public key and it is not, then we know that we're not equal, I guess. Makes sense. Yeah, I guess this does make sense, because otherwise you could have like a different class that happens to have an N and an E on it, and then this might return true, even if the two things are not actually equal. But this stops that from happening. An E other could be any. No, any. I guess this is not equals probably. Boolean. Dash turns an int. Makes sense. Keyfile is bytes. Returns a public key object. Returns bytes. Matches the old doc strings. Okay, looks good on this one. Bytes. Okay, bytes. Yep. File public key class again. Yep. Or object at this point, I guess, right? It's going to instantiate one and return it. Well, maybe it doesn't have to instantiate it. I don't know. It's going to return an instance of it, though. It's not going to return, like, the class itself. bytes again, public key, that looks the same as all the rest. This one, what is this one? Abstract key or private key? Key has NEDPQ, all ints. Init returns none. Get item takes a key, returns any representation, returns a string. Also has percent formatting. Get state, tuple of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, 8 ints. Set state takes a state, which is a tuple of 8 ints. Equal others any, returns a boolean. Not equal, same thing. Hash int, yep, makes sense. Blinded. This one takes encrypted as an int. And side channel attacks. I don't know what that is. Turns an int. Here. Old type was int as well. Message. So this is the decrypt version of this one here, the encrypt version. So int and int makes sense. It would match. Bytes and private key. We've been seeing lots of keyfile as bytes. That looks normal. Private key already was typed here as well. Bytes. Returns bytes, yeah. File bytes, return a private key. Bytes. This one has the old doc strings didn't have any typing. In bits int get prime function callable. I don't know what the things inside the square brackets are of a callable. Is that arguments for the callable? Get prime func. Let's look at this one. This is an RSA key around 580. There's no RSA key. Oh, slash key. Let's see. 580. Can do this. Interesting. Charm is confused by this part. Doesn't know it's in the comment. Well, it's not a comment, I guess. It doesn't know it's part of the string. In bits definitely looks like an int. Number of bits would be an int as well. That makes sense. Get prime. Function. Where does it call this? Here. That only passes in p bits and q bits. Maybe it's argument type and return type. That's my guess. So does this take one int and return an int? Yep, it sure does. Okay, that's probably what that is. Accurate boolean, it's defaulted to true, so we know it's a boolean. Tuple. Ooh, look at that, fancy. We got an inner function. This function is inside the other one. Here's our return, and it does, yeah, tuple, because it's 2 values, comma. Okay. is acceptable. Takes 2 ints, returns a boolean. EQ both ints. Large primes, those would be ints. Exponent. Type shows here, the old type was an int. Turns tuple. Yep. Matches right there. Nope. No, you gotta look out the side windows, buddy. Yeah. I know, but there's 2 perfectly good side windows right there. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here. Come here. Here. Come here. Come here. Oh. Just want to sit on the lap. Calculate custom keys exponent. So does that return? I scroll up. Oh, no, we were at 580. That's right, 580. Calculate keys custom exponent. Buddy, stay on the side windows, please. I know. No, you can't go up there. No. Where are we at here? Sorry. Distracted around 705. Does this return a tuple? Yep, it does. Well, it shows it does. It does indeed, yeah. Okay. Hey, no climbing. We'll be tiring out here and taking another nap. Usually naps for a couple big chunks throughout the day. Talking about my cat, by the way. So I don't know if anybody is watching this that didn't watch this morning. My cat's playing some fun new games where he likes to climb windows, and he's also trying to climb to the top of the door to look out the window that's at the top of the door. So I am trying to keep an eye on him and tell him not to do that. In bits, number of bits would be an int. This makes sense. Callable, this is going to be basically the same thing we saw before, where it takes an int, it returns an int. Accurate, default value is true, which is definitely a boolean. Default exponent we could go look for, but I suspect that's probably fine as an int. Default exponent. Yep. Don't climb it, buddy. Don't. No, get back down. Thank you. Turns a tuple with 4 ints. Indeed it does, yep. Okay, again, we got basically the same kind of things here. Number of bits, int, makes sense. Accurate, again, boolean, yep. Pool size 1 is definitely an int. Exponent, default exponent we saw a minute ago, that was an int. Hey, don't, buddy. Don't climb the window. Come on, buddy. No. Please get down. Got it. Nope. I'll be right back. See up there. There's nothing different, buddy. It's the same window. Can't see anything different. Hey, 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 get down, please. Get down, please. All right. Hopefully we have about at least a few minutes. All right. You know, if you will jump up here on my lap, I could pet you more. Really reach you down there very well. Okay. So we know that one's an int. Log level info definitely is a string. Return type? We have no return type. New key. Let's look at new keys inside here. New keys. Turns them. Looks like it would be a tuple. And I guess these would be like this, right? So we have public key and private key, those are classes. Yeah. You know, one thing I do wish I could do is just like go back to where I just was after I control click. Charm, go back to previous location. I didn't know about F12. Control Alt left. Ooh, it's kind of a hard one for me. Doesn't seem to work anyway. Okay, Control Alt is making this thing pop up. No, I guess not. Doesn't do anything. Right click, go to implementations, double shift back, double shift back, Alt shift left. Oh, did I read that wrong? No, this definitely says Control Alt shift, Control Alt left. Alt shift left. Does that work? Alt shift left? Ah, Alt shift left. I'm probably not going to remember that, unfortunately. I'll try. Alt shift left. That's super handy though. So I can control click to here and then Alt shift left. Yeah, nice. Okay, maybe I'll remember that. That's definitely very useful. I use control click all the time. Interesting that this one took me to init and not the class, whereas the public key took me to the class and not the init. Oh, there is no init. I see. Interesting. Just uses parent abstract key. Alt shift left. Yeah, that's a tough one for one-handed. My left and right arrow keys are on my left hand, and then up and down are on my right hand. I guess I could no, and I don't have an alt on my right hand. So in order to do alt shift arrow key right or left, I gotta do like pinky thumb for Alt Shift and then arrow key with like middle finger or forefinger, and it's kind of a bit of a stretch. I feel like I'm playing the piano. Size, we got a nice new header. Imports. Oh, this 64 definitely is an int. Num certainly sounds like an int. Machine word size. Literal either 64 or 32, defaulting to machine. Oh, we're in a new file. What are we in? Machine size. Right here. And yeah, it does look like 64 or 32. Tuple 3 ints and a string. Oh, okay. Yeah. Word bits, word bytes, max uint. Hacking format type. Alt Shift left. I'm going to try to keep repeating that because if I can manage to memorize that, that will help me out quite a bit actually. There are lots and lots of times that I use control click to go inside of a function and then want to like immediately get back to where I was after I look at whatever I was looking at. Header, import looks good. M marker is union, which means either or. It's either bytes or string. Returns a tuple of bytes, which makes sense. We have byte strings here, all appending together with different stuff. Contents byte string. Marker bytes string, same thing as here. And marker, yeah, same thing. Returns bytes. A2B base 64. Where is this at? About 100? Oh, must not be. We're in PIM now. Yep, this one is marked as returning bytes, which indeed looks like bytes to me. Alt Shift left. Yeah. Try to get used to doing that one-handed. It's gonna be tough. Maybe I'll add an alt somewhere or something. Maybe I can figure out a better way to do that. Bytes and marker, another one of those. Header. Object. Wonder if there's other places that use this, so it might be worth moving it into CircuitPython typing. Yes. KCS1. Typing extensions. Message is in bytes. Target length, int, makes sense. Turns bytes, yep, sure does. Add for signing, message, bytes again, same thing we had previously. Target length int returns bytes. These are basically the same. I mean, they do different things, I guess, but as far as like signatures, they have the same signature. This one too. Oh, no, this one's different actually. Bytes and then public key. And then returns bytes. Crypto. I wonder if crypto is like, that's one meaning of the term, is like encrypted message. I would tend to think encrypted message or something more specific would be better than crypto. Also, this could possibly just be carried over from CPython. So Dome. I want like stock Python though, right? Does this actually exist? Is RSA not built into Python? Actually, let's do this. IPython. PKCS1, but yeah, I guess I don't know. Okay. Decrypt. Why am I not getting to the Python docs here? Is this not part of core Python? I guess maybe I installed this. Is there a way to find out? I guess create a new virtual environment. Is there a way to find out if an import is built in or not? Find out if import is built in. Like if it's a built-in versus a library. Beef. Cool. Interesting. Built-ins. Library. Sys built-in module name. Okay, RSA is not there. It's not built in. So I guess that thing that came up first on both of my searches, PyCryptoDome, I must have that installed probably. I don't even know. Well, okay, actually I do know how I could test. We'll check for that. We can go here. Go here. Not here. Style C parser PyCryptoDome. Yeah, I do have it. Looks like I'm behind a little bit. They're on Py version now, 3.14. Probably update that, I guess. Seems like a good thing to keep up to date. Okay, so the real thing I was looking is in the decrypt function. It's not. Oh, it is. It is here. Ciphertext. It's called ciphertext. So, well, and Sentinel, which is also different though, right? Private key. Honestly, it's actually just a totally different. Interesting. Yeah, it's actually just a totally different signature because we don't have this Sentinel thing here. We also don't have this expected PT length. And instead we just have the encrypted message and the private key. Why those are different. Set to none. So optional. Does make sense here. Bytes. If not, private key is a private key. Hash method. It's like it might be a callable. Oh, no. Okay, string. It's like the type of. Okay, yeah. So maybe this is another one where the literals could be used. Oh. I want the or. Maybe I should have done a review instead of single comments. Oh well. Honestly, Tektrik's usually pretty quick about getting to stuff. I don't know. Well, he just mentioned in the meeting actually that he's moving. He's not got as much time lately. I was gonna say there's some chance that he has actually already replied to one of the top ones. Which I guess it'd be a bummer if he already replied that it doesn't work and I'm still commenting them. But that's alright, I'll come back and listen a bit. This is a bigger this is one of the bigger PRs. We definitely do want to run the tests. Prince bytes. Message signature block. Transform into bytes. Int 2 bytes. Bytes. Sounds like it would be bytes to me. I don't know what is transform? Something that gets imported? Where are we at here? 293 inside PKS1. ACS1. What did I say? 2 what? 70. Bytes, yep, it says bytes here. Transform is, oh, okay, further down in the same library. This one could be either bytes or a file-like object. Private key is a private key. Hash method is a string again. It's the same thing for the literal, maybe. I won't put it again. Wait and see if Tektrik actually knows whether strings can be used like that or not. So then, my guess is if they can, and he goes back and does a PR, well, not does. Obviously, this is already a PR. If he adds a new commit to change it to literal, we'll probably do this one as well. If not, I'll mention it afterwards. Message. So this is basically the same as this. Sign took a message. bytes or file like, okay, this one took the private key and then the hash method and it returned the bytes. This one takes the same message types, but it takes a signature as bytes and then a public key. And returns a string. Interesting. The name of the hash used. Verifies that the signature matches the message. Hash method is detected automatically. Okay, so it feels like to me it would return true or false. Like if it did match, then it returns true. If it doesn't, then it returns false. But it's actually a little bit different. It raises the error if it didn't match. And then if it did match, it actually returns to you the type that it found automatically, which is kind of nice. It does a little bit of double duty. It's like verify it and then also find out what type of hash algorithm it used. It kind of does two things. Find signature hash, signature bytes, public key is a public key, returns a string, name of the used hash. Those are strings. Yield fixed blocks, inline, file-like object, block size is an int, turns an iterator of either bytes or strings, turns each block of block size. Message is slightly different here. Here we had message and it was always just bytes and file-like object. The name string. Doesn't actually mention bytes, but I assume it works because bytes are pretty similar, honestly, to a string. There's a lot of the same methods and stuff. Usually stuff can take either or. Clear sig, bytes, returns a string, finds the hash method. That's going to be like SHA-256 or MD5 or whatever, that whole list of hash methods we saw before. String makes sense. Header. This one is using the literal thing somewhere. We got literal numbers here, I see. P is int, Q is int, returns an int. Yeah. In the example here, they're all ints. Oh, greatest common divisor. Yeah, they should definitely be ints. Get primality testing rounds. Number is an int, makes sense. Literal, so it's going to return either 3, 4, 7, or 10. Yeah. Okay, Miller-Rabin primality testing takes 2 ints, returns a boolean. Integer, int, number of, int, turn true. Yeah, those all look good. How mod? Calculate x to the power of y modulus by z efficiently. Interesting. I don't follow the logic, but I don't need to. That's the beauty of functions. I mean, this I understand, but actual way it's doing looks like it's taking advantage of bit shifting somehow. Huh. I'd be curious to try this, like, test how much quicker it is than just doing this. Does make sense those would all be ints though, and it does also make sense that it would return an int since it's doing a modulus. Is prime, int returns boolean. Get prime, in bits, number of bits, int, yeah. Returns an int. So it's getting p and then it's -1. Does look like it would be an int. Are relatively prime. That probably has a different meaning that I'm thinking. It sounds like it means like is sort of prime or sort of not, but I'm sure that's not. Must be relatively prime must be a different concept that I'm just not familiar with. AB Boolean turns true if A and B are relatively prime. Relatively prime. What's that? Relatively prime. There's no integer greater than 1 that divides them both. I see. Interesting. Encryption stuff is crazy. Whoever figured out, and I mean, it wasn't one person. Obviously, at this point, it's many people who figured all this stuff out. But people who figured out how to take advantage of prime numbers to make encryption that's really hard to break is super fascinating, but not something I probably would have ever done. I like programming and I like math alright, but this is like deep into the math world. Being able to figure out the fact that you can use prime numbers and take advantage of their rareness, I guess, basically, to an unpredictability, kind of, in order to create encryption schemes. Interesting. Does make sense, though. 2 ints and a boolean. Yeah, true, false. Examples show ints. Random. Okay. Number of bits. Returns bytes. Number of bits returns an int. Read random int. Read it from where? A random integer of approximately n bits long. Random bits. I don't know what it means read. Like, where is it reading from? I don't necessarily need to understand it. Like, if A and B are relatively prime, they have no factors in common. Yeah. Yeah, except for 1. Which actually does follow... Oh, yeah, that's following the logic in here as well, because it's getting greatest common denominator, and then if it's 1, returning true. Nice. Read random odd bit. Odd integer. And int. Max value int returns an int. They take a very long time. Data transfer functions. Header, imports, bytes, returns an int. It's a list of bytes or an 8-bit string into an integer. Number int, block size none, so optional, an int, returns bytes. Sense. bytes, bytes, needle, bytes, byte string returns an int. Find the number of prefixed byte occurrences. Sounds like a number to me. Well, it sounds like an int to me, rather. It says number, sounds like an int. Int 2 bytes, number int, full fill size, optional int. It's none, so it could be either a number or none. Chunk size, same thing. Overflow, boolean, because it's defaulted to false, which makes sense. Returns bytes. Return raw bytes. API. Interesting. I didn't know, or maybe I should say I don't know if you do have to list all these things like this. Are they not in the docs right now? In fact, they are not. Interesting. Okay, so that's probably good. Actually get those documented. Or I mean, not they're documented in the code, but actually get them to appear in the Sphinx build. Read the docs and all that. Yeah, and so the 7.0, this is a change we've made across a couple of libraries, just as we do other changes. Basically, this is when I think this is when Blinka added types. So if your library has types, then you want to use the Blinka that also has types. I forget the specific. There's like a specific error that it will cause if not. And then PyASN1 makes sense. I actually remember that from the previous PR. Okay, so I think we made it through here. And I left a couple of comments, but everything else is looking pretty good to me. Okay. We'll wait and see if Tektric has an idea on the literal thing with strings. Try to look into it, I guess. Actually, Python typing literal strings. Okay, yeah. Looks like we can use strings. I think I'd lean towards probably doing that for those ones. But other than that, everything is looking pretty good to me. Let's do this one. Oh, we should change. We should test this actually. Also, test this before I move on. Yeah, let me do that. RSA. A device window, device workspace. Let's test it on. And I can just overwrite CodePy. This was just simple test from Feather library. RSA examples. Oh. Oh, we got feedback from Melissa on Feather TFT. Portal base expects network to be something other than none. Need to be updated first. Okay. Like only if you have a JSON transform though. Or if you call fetch, which definitely makes sense in this case, right? Because you're fetching data from the internet. You definitely need a connection. Same thing here. Get local time, it's getting it from the network. Upload to IO. Of course, you need a network for that. Download from IO, yep. Feeds, groups. As long as you don't call any of those functions, doesn't seem like it would expect that. But what I'll do is I'll make a PR here as well in portal base with use network. And we'll do the same thing. We'll default it to true so that if nobody changes any of their code, it'll still, everything will work the exact same way it does today. But if you pass it as false, then you will be able to do display and peripheral stuff without having a secret spy. So let me test this, and then actually this will be perfect anyway because I was going to go test a portal base PR. So I'll test my RSA thing, then I'll go test that portal base PR, and then I'll work on the PR in portal base to make that optional. Did this run? Nope, because we are sitting in the REPL. No logging. No bin ASCII. I think those are the only two. Nope, I was wrong. Hashlib. I think those are the only three, but at this point you should probably know better than to trust what I think. Alright, we did not crash on import. I'm not going to use these keys for anything, so it doesn't matter if it prints them. Assume it will print them. Oh, nope, doesn't actually print them at all. Okay, that worked. There's, I think, two others. I'll just go ahead and run them all. And we definitely do have Python versions with types in them, right? We're actually testing the right thing here. Yeah. Typing stuff. Okay, so we definitely have the version from the PR. Oh, does this not print anything? Oh. Yeah, it's only going to print if it fails. Which if everything works, then it won't fail. So it won't print anything. Okay. Takes a little bit longer. I think this one does like everything. I scrolled way too far. This test is like almost every function or something. "71 seconds, 6 tests. Finished complete though." Okay, I'm gonna read back through the thread here because I don't remember. I had a back and forth. It looks like a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, but I do not remember everything we discussed. Oh, right, okay. It's coming back to me. So right now today there is inside secrets, there is SSID and there is password. But the new way that we settled on was those can still exist, SSID and password. Those can still exist, and this is actually incorrect though, right? This is something I suggested, which we did not end up doing. This one is correct though. SSID and password, those are strings, and those are the exact same as they are today. So if you don't change your secrets py file, everything will still work fine with this newer version of Portalbase, but you can include networks as a new thing. Nothing used to look for the networks key in the dictionary. Now there will be networks, and inside of there, it is a list. And I don't think it will be a breaking change because SSID and passwords still exist. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a look in the code. I think this one ended up not being a huge change, if I recall right, yeah. So basically, Portalbase network. It's odd that there's no red here, right? I guess this is just validating inside of a init. secrets network becomes a list of dictionaries. If they did not pass a list, then it will just be the ones from SSID and password, and that will be the only one in the list. If they did pass it, we validate the type, raise an error if it's not the right type, and set secrets network to the list that they passed us if it was a valid type. So this is the Wi-Fi setup. And basically all of this has been moved into the for loop. Yeah. This looks like a bigger change than it is, truthfully. I think that's just because the indentation causes all these lines technically to change, but really the only change is there's a for loop outside of this now. And I guess there's a maximum number of attempts error if it doesn't succeed by the end of the for loop. And if it does succeed, then it just returns. It's the last thing inside a net anyway. Okay. Still does the garbage collect. Guess this would be sleeping before looping back around to the next one of these, or maybe looping back around to the next one of this loop. I don't know where max attempts comes from either. Is that a argument? Not interesting. Where max attempts came from. I'm gonna have to go to the restroom here in just a second as well. Let's see. Open this up real fast. Oh, yep, actually. All right, I'll be right back. So let's get this one. Let's switch. Oh, you know what? Let me put this back on timestamper next time. Oh. It's in the REPL still? Oh, I broke all my libraries, that's right. I can just do that actually. Yeah, I should have done it somewhere else. Oh, okay, it just wasn't done yet, I guess. It does have all that stuff. Cat hair everywhere up here. Okay. So that's ready for next time. My portal. That in. And I think what we do is, I mean, the code change itself makes sense to me. Because that's where the connection, this is where the connection occurs. So doing the loop here means that everywhere else that uses the network, it doesn't bother trying to connect it. It just assumes it got connected in the init, which is where it changed it here. So this will do its loop whenever, if it succeeds, it will return. If it doesn't succeed, it will raise the error after it's tried all of the number of attempts. Oh, I was going to look at where does max attempts come from? Actually, sure. Max attempts. Is it not? Is it? It's in network, maybe not. Yeah, it's in network. Okay. Find. Yeah. What's come from? It's passed in. Okay, max attempts 10. Was this inside of connect or this was inside of init? No. Okay, it is inside of connect. Okay. The fold tripped me up before. Inside of init, the new stuff is checking the type on networks. Yeah. Okay. So connect is actually where it connects from, and everywhere else just assumes it will be connected. Maybe there are other places that call connect, I'm not sure. But either way, because it changed inside connect, it means everywhere that uses the connect function will get the new behavior. I think what we do is take portal base, put it in here, delete this. Oh, I deleted PyPortal. I accidentally did that. Is it built in though? Because I think it's built in. Built in. PI key. All right, this one looks like the winner. Because this doesn't need, well, I mean, this one, Adafruit.io, we would need a token for, but it looks like we don't need the token to fetch. Yeah, don't need a token to fetch this. Perfect. I don't understand that math, but I know what it's doing. I would say, I guess I know what it's doing, but I don't know how it works. But that's fine. I don't need to know how it works. This is good because this is a project that does use PyPortal, which in turn uses Portalbase to fetch its data, and it doesn't require a token. So this is a good test for us. First thing I'm going to do is just copy code and the image, and I think that it is still going to work because I think that I'm going to keep this around in case we need it later. I think this will work because I don't think, or rather I do think that PyPortal and Portalbase are frozen in. I'm wrong. Appear. Yeah. I'm a little surprised though. Portalbase only. Progress bar. Which one is progress bar frozen into? Interesting. I would not have thought that one was frozen in. I guess maybe Portalbase uses progress bar, and that's why it's in there? No. Okay, so Portalbase looks like it's built in, but PyPortal not. Oh, Titano, though, it's like a weird one. It doesn't... Yeah, no, it exists. Okay. But Pint is weird, right? Pint doesn't show up in here, but is still a build. Somehow it's like an alias or something to the main build. Not actually different. Interesting. I wonder, why not just put PyPortal in here too, I think, right? We are freezing in Portalbase and a bunch of the things that Portalbase needs. Wonder if there's a reason why not to include PyPortal. One thing is that portal base is frozen in, so we're going to need to put our copy on the root, not make the same mistake as before. Interesting. Maybe I just reboot it again, I guess. All right, so we got the time. Honestly, actually, 320? 40? 1. I think it's not in the right place because of the difference in screen size. Maybe I should run and get the actual PyPortal for this. The XY. Didn't I search 320? Didn't find anything. Where does this get called from? Okay, what is width? Oh, it does. Okay, the pinpoint, I guess, is technically in the right spot, but the map does not scale to fit. If we cheat a little bit and put 320, 240, will it then draw on the map? We'll cross-reference this too. I'm sure there will be a thing online where we can also find the location of the ISS and compare and make sure it's looking in like it's in the right spot. So I don't know, just arbitrarily changing this. My guess, yeah, this gets it back onto the map. My guess is that just passing smaller numbers for those basically confines us to the rectangle that actually represents our bitmap. So yeah, a little bit northwest-ish of Australia. ISS location. Yes, that's why we're here. Yeah. It's the same. But northwest-ish of Australia. Yeah. All right, perfect. Okay, so this works now, but now we need to actually be using our special portal base here. Because right now it's going to be using the frozen portal base, which doesn't know anything about this multiple networks thing. It's not going to take it into account at all. So we're going to take multiple Wi-Fi portal base from the PR. We're going to drop it in root, and I think because it's in root, it will override the frozen one. But I am also, to make sure that that's the case, I am going to go inside of here, go inside of here. Inside of here, just put print modified. Make sure that this prints. Modified. Okay. We're definitely using the changed version of this when it's pasted into the root. So now what I'm going to do is actually delete it again, because I really don't want, I mean, my print statement shouldn't change anything, but I also don't want, like, I want to test the one that's in the PR. I don't want to test like a in-between one that I kind of just made an extra change to. I don't think the change would make a difference, but now that we know that it's definitely running that one, we should go back, paste a fresh copy from the PR, back to the root. And so with everything else the same, it'll just do the same thing here, because I have not actually changed my CircuitPy yet. So let's start with just making sure that this works as is. This little face looking thing here, it's actually part of a remote, but the way that it was lined up like that makes it look like eyes. Actually pretty funny. Okay. So it does look good here, looks the same. So we know that our new multiple network stuff is not going to break anything for anybody who's not using it, which is always a good thing to test. Whenever we add a new feature, we want to make sure, like, you know, people not using the new features should not be having their code broken by it. And in this case, they're not. So next thing is we want to actually use the new feature. And unfortunately for you, the viewer, this involves changing my CircuitPy, which you will not be able to see as long as I do everything correctly. So I'm going to pull this over to here where it's not showing. Verify it's not showing. Yeah, it is not showing. I'm going to go to my CircuitPy. I'm going to make a new thing called networks, but I'm going to put it inside the dictionary instead of outside. Networks. This is a list. Nope, I made it a dictionary. Let's go back and make it a list. List. A list of dictionaries. Each dictionary has an SSID and a password. Those, I'm actually just going to copy. Matt. B. And what I will do is, oh wait, no, that's all we want. That's all we want. We want a second dictionary though. What I'll do is I'll put real networks in them for right now. I'll test it, make sure it works. And then I'll go back and I'll make a not real network, a network that doesn't exist. I'll put that as the first one. And so then we'll verify that it's actually going to try the next ones correctly. Oops, we're missing a comma here. Let's put that in. Okay, I have my actual two networks that do exist put in here. I closed it already, bringing it back. Everything should work the exact same again this time. The one difference is that it should be using that new networks code. So it doesn't print. So actually, I don't know that we would be able to tell. But it did work, which is a good thing. I think what I'll do, let's just I'm a double checker. I'm always constantly like, make sure the world is actually as I understand it. So let's go in here. Inside connect. connect. Yeah, no, yeah, into here. And now, I guess it did actually print probably, huh? Oh yeah, it did, okay. I suppose though, like what we don't know is that it's not using SSID and password. I guess what I could do is I could put an incorrect network into SSID and password. I gotta pull this over again, you all can't see it, as long as I do everything correctly. Otherwise we get to change my Wi-Fi password again. So here I'll put not the name of the network. Close this again. And so you can't see it, but you'll have to take my word for it. The thing that is in SSID is now not my actual network name. And we can see here, my actual network name is this, and it did print it. So it did not take the one from SSID. It did definitely take the one from networks, the new feature, the list. So that worked correctly. There's our time, there's our point. Dang, that sucker moves fast. It's like, wasn't it just down here a second ago? I mean, a couple of minutes ago? Yeah, totally. It was off. It was like off the west side more. How fast does this thing move? ISS speed? It seems fast as heck. Yeah, that's pretty quick. That's pretty fast. Dude, seriously? There are people on here, right? ISS, there's people on there, right? I guess speed is relative though, right? The Earth is moving really fast too. And we're on the Earth. Doesn't feel like we're moving. Dang, I had no idea how fast this went. That is crazy. Wow. It's like, how do we dock something to that? There's people are crazy, man. People are so smart. I don't understand. Orbits every 90 minutes. Oh, jeez. "16 sunrises and sunsets every day." Oh man, that has to mess with your like circadian rhythm, right? Those people are like all freaked out, I bet. I wonder how hard it is to sleep once they get back to Earth. Alright, anyway. Yes, ISS is fast as heck. We are still getting correct looking values though. Looks pretty much the same. Looks like it's actually drawing the line too. Like if we let this run for a while, the yellow line, it would just keep drawing it for us. It's going to update the circle every couple of, I don't know, every minute or something, I guess, probably. What are we looking at here? Update display. Get location. Update rate. 10 seconds. Every 10 seconds we're updating. And so it will keep adding new yellow. And eventually I guess we'll end up with this nice curvy, this nice curvy line here. Sort of sine wave looking thing. Wow, that is fast. All right, so this test worked. we did take the first thing from our list of networks and we successfully connected to it. So now I'm gonna, again, you all cannot see. If I do things correctly, we're gonna move this. We're gonna go in here. I'm gonna put a fake one as the first one. Actually, I'm gonna put two fake ones. Fake one, fake 1, 2. SSID, not real, not real. Fake password 1, 2, 3. Oh no, now you know how to log into not my network. Another not real. Whoop, different password 1, 2, 3. Save this. Close this. Back to here. And so now we should see two fake networks get attempted and both fail, and then eventually a real network will try third, and it should succeed as long as everything works. Or if it fails, there's actually a fourth one as well, which is also real. So first one, oh, failed to connect. And 364. Okay. I do think maybe we still have a little bit more work in Portal Base to do, probably, because it should catch this and try the next one. Connect 364. Connection error. I wonder, I'm guessing maybe MagTag is slightly different. I think Tetrix said he tried it on MagTag. Or at least he built it for MagTag. And he probably tested it as well. My guess is probably in MagTag, this ends up raising a connection error, but in PyPortal, what we're actually seeing is runtime error. I don't know, can you do, nope, doesn't look like it, huh? Can you, like, list, or? Okay, maybe tuple would be better? I guess the other thing, though, is it's also going to try 10 times before it gives up and moves to the second one. It means we're actually going to have to wait for 20 tries with 3 seconds in between each, which is like a full minute. Is longer than I want to wait, but not actually calling connect. I don't know where. Where does connect get called from? A bunch of places. Also, no logic in here that's like, if we're already connected, then don't connect again. IO client. guess it's not, it doesn't really connect until it, then it must be calling connect over and over again, is it? Like if you, because it's calling connect from, let's look at the last one. Where is this one? This is inside of fetch. Not response. Huh. So for instance, 193, this is inside get struth time. If you just called this twice, which I think, I mean, here we're calling it every 10 seconds. Because wait, what? Now equals now. New position equals false. If now minus last update is greater than update rate, set new position to true. Last update now. Update display. Update ISS false. I see, okay. If this is false, then it won't do anything. Oh, we don't need this anymore. Actually, we don't need this anymore either. This is probably one of the very, like, first few display I/O examples, honestly. Basically, if this is false, then nothing else happens. Updates the time, I guess? I don't even know if the time is changing, though, honestly. Current time. Oh, okay, well, current time. Okay, yeah, current time would be changing because of this. But, and it looks like this is what? Every half second this is running. All right, right, we haven't actually connected, so we're not printing anything yet. We're on to the second network? Yeah. Okay, we're getting close. 2, 3, 4, 5. Lost it, I think maybe 6, 7, 8, 9-ish. Yep, now we're on to another real one. Or we're on to an actual real one. Boom. Gosh, look at that. It's already so far away from Australia. And yeah, this is updating every second. Actually updating every half second, but it doesn't change. Interesting. I guess it probably swaps just back over to here once it goes off the edge. Be able to see here in not too long, going at that speed. All right, well, it did. Oh, well, no, it didn't work. We had to add that runtime. Let's put that in the PR. Other than that, it did work. It's weird that this was only connection error here. Might as well just link this. Just asterisk, right? Yeah. Okay. Let me go look at my pull request here and see if anybody said anything. Nope. Like it. Did we succeed? We did. So looks like it did not make anything too big. It's a good sign. Are we wrap around yet? Not quite. Almost though. I'll just let it keep going here. While that is going, I'll go back to Portal Base. I will go back to main, Adafruit main, pull, update, yes. Okay. Let's do this so that this shows correct. Git checkout -b optional. I don't know, what did I call it in the other one? Did I call it in PyPortal? I should just call it the same probably. Oh, no, this is the wrong thing. Oh, I don't have it up anymore. So it's SP, this one. But don't require secrets if no network. Don't require secrets if no network. That's kind of a verbose branch name, honestly. Probably doesn't need to be that long, but it's pretty specific. That's good and descriptive. From Adafruit main, no track. And then here we're gonna go I put that on init or on network init? I put it on init because it was calling network init, and that's what I put inside of the if statement. I don't know why that changed. So there's no types here yet. This would be weird to have this be the only thing typed, I think. This does not actually do anything more. It just sets network to network. Network gets passed in here. This is where I get a little twisted around. I don't quite follow all of the ins and outs of what extends what and what order all the initializations happen in and stuff. This extends portal base. It does not take network, but it initializes network and then calls super and passes network in. So then in here, network just gets set onto network. So I guess really all we need is like, maybe we don't need this. Yeah, I don't think we need this because we'll just have network. If it's none, then we're not using it. So we would basically treat, if network is none, then use network was false, basically. Same behavior. So where are the usages of self.network? Oh, I gotta go feed the outdoor cat. Well, she's just gonna scratch on the window and it squeaks and it's gonna drive me insane. I'll be back in a minute. All right, everybody say hi to Cali Girl. I mean, you can't see her, but she's there. I've given her the tiniest amount of food. Not supposed to feed her too much. But she will just scratch the glass door and it will drive me insane. It did wrap. Now it's on this side. Interestingly, it didn't wrap straight from the edge. Oh, that was a big jump. Huh. If it failed to fetch a few times, or anything weird in here? It stopped printing, which is kind of strange. Now it's back to printing. This reset? Feels like this reset. Did. Totally resetted. Okay. Okay, yeah, we got a bunch of these. What? You know what's weird though about it? It reset, but we still have yellow over here. Weird. Maybe it. Maybe it didn't reset. Maybe it just failed. Maybe it just failed its fetch, and then that caused it to retry the connect, which then caused it to go through and do the 10 per network, 3-second delay, yada yada. But not actually, it's not like starting the code over, so our previously drawn dots are still there. I wonder how these dots are drawn, honestly. Is this one big bitmap, or doesn't really matter for this purpose though? So inside of fetch, I think we just something like this. Basically, just whenever we try to use the network, if it's none, we raise an error. My if statement backwards last time? Just got a funny feeling like I might have done that backwards last time. Oh. This is probably easier, right? No, I got it right. If it is not none, then do the transform stuff. If it is none... Oh, okay. I did not get it wrong in the way that I thought, but it is still wrong actually, because what'll happen is now this will raise if network is none no matter what, but really we don't want it to. We only want it to if we actually want this on the inside. If JSON transform, if it is not none, then do this. Else, oh, this is what we want. We only care, okay, first of all, though we need to be back here. We only care about any of this if we got a JSON transform. So that's the first thing. If we did not get a JSON transform, then we don't care at all about this. If we did, we want to know, is the network not none? If it is, then we can add our transform. If it is none, the opposite. If it is none, then we raise the error. Okay, that sounds better. Back into fetch is where we were next. They're not going to find like this, I guess. There we go. So here, if network is none, and you're calling fetch, then we just raise the error. Network must not be none to use fetch. Which makes sense to me. So now let's look for more self.network. Get local time. I wonder, actually, let me go have a look at fetch again. Oh, but self.network, we wouldn't know. If it's none, it's not going to be able to call those things inside there. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I think we want this here. If, same thing basically, if self.network is not none, then do this. Else, raise time. Network must not be none. Use get local time. Next one. Push to IO, same thing. I'm going to start copy pasting this. But I would be kind of curious what the error is anyway. I mean, it's going to probably give you an error about none or something. It's probably not like too hard probably to figure it out. This is much nicer though. I mean, this is very specific, like. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go do all the ifs first. Then go back and do all the elses. All right, well, there weren't that many, so did that change too late? I guess also we don't want to be just copy pasting the else, honestly. We want to go back and change the last part of it because they do say different things, right? This should be get IO group. This should be get IO feed. This should be get IO data. Push to IO. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we did basically all the things you can do with the network. Fetch, get local time, push to IO, get IO data, get IO feed, get IO group. That's it. Those are the network things. JSON path is sort of related to network as well. Maybe we should, I think we should do the same one from init, right? We had the one in init where it was like, oh, no, back. There it is. Yeah, if we try to set the JSON path, actually, what? Oh no, what's that? Okay. I don't know what that just did. Actually, here's what we'll do on this one. We're just going to get raise. We're going to say opposite ways. If network, no, if self.network is none, raise. JSON path, is that different than JSON transform? JSON transform, yeah, I guess so. Same. Yeah, I mean, I think we want this though, right? Because JSON path, it's like the path within whatever you're fetching. So, I mean, if you're using this, theoretically, you're probably also going to call fetch at some point, which is going to raise its own, but we might as well warn you here as well. If you go to set the path, do we not do that in the initializer? Not take a path? Let's take a path. So here I see. Doesn't technically touch network yet. I mean, we could. Yeah. I guess we might as well raise. It's a lot of new of these things, I guess, but we should probably say if URL and network self.network is none, raise. If headers and not and self.network is none. Actually, I want this. Oh, I did attribute instead of runtime for all of these. I guess it's an attribute error when it's in here. I don't know, we'll see. I think success callback gets used with fetch. Actually certain of that. Yeah. Oh, I should have done capital none on all of these. I actually did do uppercase on all these ones. Okay. Oh, not this one. Oh, no, that's not what I want. Espressive. Words. 50 right there. No frozen modules yet. Necessary else. I mean, technically, but honestly, I don't like it this way because it's less clear in my opinion. Kind of relies on you knowing a fair amount about like how if statements work and stuff, and how return works as well. I don't know, the code is like more descriptive about what it's doing if you include that else. Without including the else, it means the same thing, and a person who understands the nuances of how if and how return works will understand that it's the same. But if it just spells it out like that, you don't have to know that stuff, really. You can still tell what it does without knowing that stuff. Which I don't know. There's a debate to be had, I guess, about like if it's good for the code to be more verbose than it needs to be for the purposes of making it easier to understand for folks who don't have as much experience. In general, I tend to lead towards yes, it's good to do that, but Highlint Highlint is what we have to satisfy, so I'll go back and do it this way. Structure. I don't even know what that is. Structure. I don't know where that came from. So now we want to go back to the Feather TFT and then just test with new portal base. Make sure the simple test still works. Which I'm guessing it will, but oop. Accidentally knocked the top camera here. Alright, so first time this should just fail. For not having portal base. Indeed. I don't have the updated version of this from my PR. I guess maybe I had this named not lib for a while. Maybe I had the other one inside the lib that I deleted. So that's probably what happened. We put use network false. 102. Good thing I tested it, because I was wrong. 102. False super. JSON path. Default is none. Okay, into portal base 97. I see. Okay, this needs to be value is not none. And if we are actually setting a value that's not none and the network is none, that's when we want to raise. If value is none, then we don't need to raise because we're not actually using it. This, get back to here as well. We're still printing this, which I would prefer not to. Where does this come from? Did they get printed this morning when I tested this originally? Yes, it must have, right? And change this part. We do that. Restart. All right, still working. This again, since I made changes. Okay. Built. Okay. The guy requires secrets. Actual changes were just inside of a init. Checks. Inside of fetch. Basically one inside of each one of these things that uses the internet. I don't like the logic on this actually with raise afterwards. So, and I've already committed it. Oh well. I looked at my changes closer before I did that. I think actually this would be better. I don't know. This feels a little bit more like the right way around. It's like before it's like defaulting to raise, which feels awkward. I don't know. It's not the end of the world, but it kind of feels weird. So yeah, why don't I think we just do this the same in all of these actually. This here. Bring this back. Whoa. This back. This doesn't really change anything, but it just feels more correct to me. That like by default we just return and we raise in the event that this thing didn't work right. Whereas here what we have is like by default we raise, but then if this thing was correct then we actually return instead. But I don't know, 6 of one half dozen of another, but it feels backwards to me. I would say I do still probably I would prefer it with the else, but Pylint will complain if I put the else, so we'll leave it out. I do think the code is actually easier to understand for folks without experience using the else explicitly, even though it's not required. This one's already pretty much like that. All right, I will test it again. I guess the other thing we should probably do is go ahead and test it on the PyPortal. We may as well just use it on the PyPortal and make sure that that ISS thing is working. I'll move the real networks further up the list though. Okay, so that is still working fine. How do I say this? I guess just swap, raise, and return. That's probably good. I hope I pushed that to Funday the first time. Did I just push that into a native fruit branch? Doesn't look like it. Okay. No. Okay. I don't know why. Somehow that switched for some reason. Back to Adafruit. That's weird. Okay, unplug this, put the PyPortal back. Going back over here. But I can change my... An update. Refresh. There we go. Base. There it is. Okay, I was like, didn't I have to paste this in the root? I just here. Okay. Delete this, and it's going to go back to using the built-in. Then what we're going to do is actually we're going back to a version that's expecting SSID and password, which is going to fail the first time. is I think I changed it to not an actual network, if I recall correctly. Yeah. 1 second, we're gonna fix that. I removed them from the list, but the list is not actually what this one is using, because this is back to the old version, which is looking for SSID and password. Here we go. We're expecting this to still work normally, because we do have the network stuff this time. Like we tested the not having network stuff on the Feather TFT. This one is testing the is having network stuff, and it does work fine. You don't get anything weird printed, right? Yeah, everything looks normal. Okay. Guess one case we didn't test is actually raising the exceptions, like set use network to false and then try calling fetch or get network time. Let's try that real fast. I'm gonna go back to the Feather for it though. So here we specified use network false. But if we go back on our word and we try to say print, do you have to print? Let's get local time work. Get local time, return. Okay. Print, yeah, we want to print. Print sp.get local time. None. Okay. Probably fine for it to be none. There we go. Yeah, perfect. We get the print message, which tells us, but this one doesn't raise the exception, but then we do try to call get local time, and here now we get the runtime error. Network must not be none. Seems good to me. Wait and see what Melissa says. Failed. And there is no use network false for PyPortal yet, although we could go back and add it now that, well, after this is done, we could go back and add it. Why did this fail? I ran pre-commit, didn't I? I think I did. Mid hooks. Did I run pre-commit? Are we out of sync on versions, or? Change. Huh. Okay. Well, I guess I didn't, or I changed something else after the fact. Weird. We got. All right. I think I'm probably headed out here pretty soon. Oh, gosh dang it. In my email, it's literally like instance away from clicking on a message to look at it, and then it like refreshed at the exact same time, and it had new things that came in the top and pushed everything down. So then I ended up clicking on something that I was not trying to. This is what I was looking at. I didn't think anything could connect to an Oh, this is I see. Never mind. HTTP server, not HTTPS server. I'm gonna say I didn't think anything could use HTTPS on a IPv4 or IPv6 because I didn't think you could get a certificate for an IP like that. Or I guess you probably can, but not easily. Not with like Let's Encrypt or any free certificate things. Maybe you can if you pay. I'm not messing with HTTP server. It's almost back around to where it was when we started. It's crazy. Okay, this didn't fail again, did it? Good, at least. Yeah, successful this time. All right. I think I'm heading out for now. Today's Monday, so I'll be back on Friday for sure for deep dive, Friday evening. And then I'll be back on Saturday morning, morning in my time zone, this week. But I will not be streaming next Saturday. So this Saturday I'll be back, but next Saturday I will be gone. I'll be there for Friday on deep dive that week, but not Saturday. Yeah. So thank you to anybody who is watching, and catch you all next time.